All right, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Flopbuster Movie Show live with Tony and Gabe. I'm Tony. There's my co-host Gabe right over there. If you can't,
See,
he's going to be on the right side. The right side of the screen. He's got a new haircut.
right over there. If you
And we're ready to go. We're ready to get
Oh,
started.
I am ready to go.
We're having
I'm
technical
excited for
difficulties.
today's. No, I'm good.
Okay. I'm very excited for today. We got a lot to talk about. We got a lot of things to run down.
Tons.
How you been,
I
Gabe?
wrote,
How's
I
everything
wrote
going?
notes for today's show. Actually, there's a lot of. If you guys don't know by now, right? I'm not a note taker. I'm more of a fly by my seat. I say what's on my mind type of individual. And I was so excited about today's show that I wrote notes for it. So once we get into that, we'll get into it in a little bit.
We have a lot to cover, man. I want to shout out Connor. Connor's been in the chat all the time. He's here again. What's up, Connor? We got a lot of movies to cover. It's going to be very exciting. First of all, Gabe, how have you been? Anything new and exciting lately?
Um, no, nothing really new or exciting. Just been working a lot. Finally, work picked up for me, so I haven't been able to watch a lot of the new stuff that's been out. Just basically just doing the homework for today's show is what I've been doing. How about yourself?
Pretty much the same, except I was able to squeeze in one movie. I'm still playing catch up on Obi-Wan, and I have not started Miss Marvel. I heard it's great. Love all the Marvel shows so far. I'll check that
What?
out. But I did get to see a little film on Netflix that I highly, highly recommend, especially to you because you're a big basketball fan, which everybody knows. It's Hustle with Adam Sandler on Netflix right now. Produced by LeBron James. There's a ton of people in this. Kenny
Oh, you lost me, LeBron James.
Edwards. Hey, this movie is the real deal, man. It's really, 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 really good. It's a lot of inside baseball, NBA stuff. So if you're into that, you want a good sports dramedy, a little bit of Jerry Maguire in there. This is
Okay.
like big thumbs up for me. One of the top 5 best Adam Sandler performances too.
Oh, that's saying a lot because he's had quite a good run recently. Well, he's had quite a good run in his roles that he's done. So to say it's top five, it's pretty good.
I would say top 5. For me personally, I think he brings a lot to the role, and it pretty much the movie relies everything on his shoulders, but the whole cast is great.
So do you think Uncut Gems like revitalizes like his passion for acting? Because those Netflix movies, that if we're gonna be truthful about them, they weren't that good.
A lot of them aren't, but I think the Meyerowitz stories where he played Ben Stiller's brother in that, which was from the filmmaker who did he's done a bunch of movies. He's done Greenberg with Ben Stiller, Noah Baumbach. They did the Meyerowitz stories. I think that might have been the movie that kind of rejuvenized his passion in acting. That was 2016, I believe, and since then he's been giving us some solid stuff, man. Aside from a couple of his sort of on the nose slapstick comedies, which
Right.
I enjoy still. I think he's really looking at like what's the best roles for him to take. Between the Meyerowitz stories and Uncut Gems, he's been delivering on all fronts in terms of his dramatic turns.
Well, I'm gonna have to check it out this weekend at some point.
I think this is going to end up being one of my favorites of the year. Definitely top 10. It's certainly one of the best sports movies I've seen in a while. It's totally like got this Philadelphia vibe going on. But yeah, it's like everything you would want out of NBA film. I think certainly in terms of NBA films, it's got to be one of the best. With He's Got Game, like for sure. Anthony Edwards, really good actor, great player, but surprisingly, really, really good actor. So
Isn't it Anthony Edwards Goose and Top Gun?
he is, and he also plays for the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Nice.
I have a lot of things to run down. There's a lot of movie news. Things just dropped this week. A lot of big things. Things that me and you are pretty excited to talk about. A couple of things I haven't picked your mind on at all. So I'm curious what you think.
Okay, pick my mind.
It's time to run down the news. By the way, I want to thank today's sponsor of the show, Trojan Condoms. If you're going to fuck like a horse. So that's our sponsor, Trojan Condoms. You can pick them up at the nearest 98-cent store, Walgreens, CVS.
And men's bathrooms.
And men's bathrooms, too. Those are used.
Also, our second sponsor, like always, is we're back with Cherry Pepsi today. Pepsi has graced us with another round of cherry here.
Oh, it's the best. Sadly, Coke has left the building. They do not want to sponsor us anymore. But
No,
that's okay.
no,
I still drink.
it's all Pepsi.
It's all Pepsi.
It's all Pepsi all the time.
Couple things dropped. I think we should get this one out the way because this dropped while I was at Mad Monster over the weekend, or Monster Palooza, my bad. Monster Palooza in Pasadena, which was completely awesome, really cool. Met a ton of cool people, got a lot of great things. Nev Campbell will not be joining Scream 6, which has kind of torn the entire horror internet apart.
What
I have
doesn't?
a lot of thoughts on this. What doesn't? Yeah, so apparently it's due to contract negotiations, salary. It's all Hollywood inside baseball stuff that none of us have any reason to even comment on. So why are we? She's not in the movie. I love Nev Campbell. I love that character. She wasn't really in Scream 5. You can honestly cut out every minute of her role in that movie, and the movie would be exactly the same. So if Nev thinks she wasn't being paid well, good for her. She knows her worth. She's going to go find it. But I also credit Radio Silence because I think they can move on and make a fantastic film with or without her. It's a shame, but I don't understand this whole choosing sides thing that I'm seeing on both sides. People saying just suck it up and do the movie or pay her what she wants. Right. We don't know what's going on. I'm happy to get another Scream film. Nev was great. There's also no reason to continue that story with Sydney. How many times do we need to see her come back? They gave her a reason to come back to pass the baton. But yeah, man, this is something that's kind of tearing people apart on both sides. There's a change.org petition now for that. So I don't understand it.
Listen, I'm sort of part of the horror community. I'm a huge, you know me. I'm a huge horror fan, right? But as far as Scream is one of my favorite franchises. As you know, on my TikTok a couple of days ago, Ghostface is like my number 5 slasher of all time. I don't need Sydney. I don't need her in these movies. I don't need legacy sequels either. Like, I'm part of the person, like, I may be old, I may be nearing 40, but I'm also of the mindset that a lot of these movies should be geared more towards younger generation of people to enjoy. For me, I could always go back to the first 4 Screams. Like, I don't, exactly. I could go back to the original Nightmare on Elm Street, right? I could go back to whatever, right? And relive those moments and feel good about it. I'm part of the people that think like, okay, she doesn't want to be in it. She's not making enough money. That's cool. Good for her. I know she's on that new Netflix show, The Lincoln Lawyer. So she got that Netflix money. So it's not like she's going to be hurting. She's working, so. But at the end of the day, I do feel like they might sneak in a little money, throw her in some extra money. Nobody's going to notice. And all of a sudden, they're going to give us Sydney and like a fucking end credit scene or type situation,
Well, we know Scream 7 is happening. They've all but confirmed that that's what this is all leading up to. And don't get me wrong, I'd love for Nev to come back. She's built this franchise with Wes Craven, Kevin Williamson, who's still involved. He's an executive producer. He's very much involved. But
the only thing I need from Kevin Williamson is a freaking Dawson's Creek reboot. All right, that's what I need. I need to see what's up with with AC and Dawson and all those. Like,
you love those shows. You love the OC and Gossip Girl and Dawson's Creek.
I do. To be honest with you, I do. I mean, it's fun. Hey, listen, that is my guilty pleasure, and not really a guilty pleasure because I am like in the forefront of how much I like. Did you just
have like growing up the CW? Was that it? Was that the only channel?
No. Well, here's the thing. All right, you may be too young to remember this, but the CW was at first a very urban channel. We had the Wayans brothers.
That is true. I do remember that.
And all these shows. And then all of a sudden they stopped these shows for like, Dawson's Creek and all like Vampire Diaries and all these other shows. But yes, yeah. I am a closet fan of those types of teenage dramas.
Wear it proudly. No, but I think the last movie proved that regardless of legacy characters. Oh, and shout out to Strange Monkey, love that guy. Thanks for joining us. Um, Regardless of legacy characters, the last movie was great on its own, and it introduced new characters to us, a new
Right.
a cast that's so talented. I think it's a slap in the face that so-called fans of these movies are being so upset, causing so much toxicness online because of something they're not getting. You know, if Nev doesn't want to be in this movie, that's her business. Nobody should uh, rag on her for it. Nobody should beg her to come back. If she comes back, she comes back. That's all inside
Right.
baseball Hollywood negotiation shit. It's got nothing to do with the viewer. The only job that Radio Silence has is to deliver a good movie regardless of any of those factors, which we know, and I have a strong feeling that Scream 6 is going to be very, very good because they've made, for me, nothing but really, really damn good movies so far with Ready or Not, Scream 5. I really like these guys. So that's my only hot take on this is good for Nev. If she doesn't want to be a part of this, it's her career, it's her choice. And that's
I will say one more thing on Scream 5 to go back to that, because it also had really harsh judgments and toxicity from the fandom is because of Kirby. So then they decide, okay, we're going to give you Kirby for Scream 6. And they're still not happy now that Nev's not going to be there. It's like you could never make anybody in the horror community happy. Somebody always has to have their panties in a bunch, or else they're not happy.
No, I agree with you, man. I think it's a shame because I think the movie is going to be really, really good, and it goes back to what I said. At the end of the day, if you're a hardcore fan, honestly, it's really not going to matter what you think. Uh, it's a small fraction of the general audience. If I go up to a random person on the street who just likes horror movies, they're going to go see this. My cousins who love horror movies, but they're not horror fanatics, they just like going to see these things. They're going to go see it. This movie was a huge hit. The next one's going to be a huge hit if it's good, and I think it's going to be good. So I think we move on from that because we've heard it all at this point, right?
Let's do it.
Let's move on to some Rob Zombie news. We'll stick with the horror theme before we move on. A little bit of a teaser trailer. I guess it's more of an announcement trailer, right? It's a tease of the Munsters coming to, I assume, Peacock this October. We know it's 2022. Showcases the cast. We have a little tip of the hat to the opening of the original series, which was very, very cool. I like the old Universal logo, the black
and in color,
and now in living color. And I really like the comments that Rob said about this being a live action cartoon, that he was just having fun with it. Like, this is going to be very goofy, very much in line with the original series, which I really like that original show. The cast looks great. I mean, they're all Rob Zombie originals, or like original cast members, man. And Sherry Moon looks like Lily Munster. Jeff Daniel Phillips, right? That's his name. Looks
yes.
great. It's Herman. I just saw the actor who's playing Grandpa at Monsterpalooza. He looks fantastic in the role. I like the mustache they gave him. Honestly, the movie looks like a lot of fun, and I think it's going to be a treat for people that are into the holiday season around that time. We're going to have Hocus Pocus 2, The Monster, so a lot of little nostalgic, fun family horror comedies, man. I think it looks fun. I got to see more, but from what I can see, it's exactly the movie Rob has promised us since he gave MTV Cribs a tour of his house and said he wants to make a Munsters movie. So it looks fun. I'm there day one for sure.
Oh, listen, I've been anytime Rob Zombie is attached to anything, I'm seeing it day one. All right. I am just that type of Rob Zombie fan. Ever since his White Zombie to his solo career and now to his movies, I've been a fan. So I'm there day one. I have no issues. I can't say I have no issues with this movie.
It's a little tease, man. Yeah,
it's a little tease. I'm probably going to lose a little horror credit here, but I've never really sat through an old episode of the Munsters, so I'm not going to sit here and be, I'm Mr. Expert on the Munsters. I've maybe caught a little things, but you know me, I'm not a big fan of black and white stuff, so I've always was like, I would just change the channel. Now that it's in color, though, I'm there. I mean, even if it would have been Rob Zombie black and white, I still would have been there. But
I doubt they would have let him do it, but I really like how it looks. I went on a little Munsters kick where I watched the show and then I watched a couple of the straight to DVD '90s ones, and then I own Monster Goes Home, and that's one of Rob's favorites, and I'm assuming the inspiration for this.
So
But
let
it's a
me
cool
ask you
teaser,
though,
man.
what's up with the little kid? I forget his name. Butch was it or
So Eddie Munster,
Eddie
yeah,
Munster?
there's been no casting announcement and no cousin Marilyn, which is another huge part of the show. The show is very much like the Brady Bunch, but with like this universal monster infusion, right?
Right.
So they're like the All American Family. They're very goofy, but they're wholesome. That's the difference between them and the Addams Family. The Addams Family is like sex crazed and weird, and they're always trying to kill each other. Like that's the fun. That's like the cool thing about those movies and like that TV show
Right.
is that they're just very weird. The monsters are more wholesome. Like that's the big difference because they both came out the same year. But yeah, no casting announcement for Eddie Munster. I assume this is a prequel. I'm gonna think it's that.
So okay, no, that's fine. I'm good with that.
I have no idea. Yeah, nobody knows.
No, nobody knows. So then we'll transition a little bit because you mentioned it. I don't know if it's part of your movie news, but it definitely caught my attention. Was Jenna Ortega comes out? There's a little teaser for Netflix for the Wednesday series that they're gonna, showcase her in. So I was excited for that as well.
I'm excited for this. Tim Burton's involved, who's always wanted to be involved with the Addams Family. For years, he tried doing a stop motion animation one back in like 2010, which on the internet I was so pumped for and never happened. He would have done such a great job with that. And I love anything Tim Burton stop motion. The original movies are some of my favorite comedies of all time. I'm a die-hard fan of those films. The little tease of her looks great. I know this is going to primarily focus on Wednesday, but I gotta say, I love the casting of all the characters. Luis Guzman as Gomez Adams is something I didn't know I needed, and I can't wait to see him as that character. And Catherine Zeta-Jones as Morticia is going to be awesome.
I'm glad she's back to working.
Oh, I love it. And I just picture Luis Guzman saying Boppy with and it's going to work perfectly for Gomez. It's such a perfect thing.
And that thick Puerto Rican accent that he has.
It's like I said, genius casting. There's always been that Latin infusion with the Addams Family. They never really say what they are, but they're always hinting at some kind of Latin infusion.
It has to be. Last name Gomez.
Yeah.
Gomez is just a Hispanic last name, yeah. So they could be Spaniard, right? Or they could be
Spaniard, yeah.
Any of the Latin American, But with Luis Guzman being Puerto Rican and Jenna Ortega being Mexican, then you definitely know that it's going to be a Hispanic family. We're just creepy like that.
But hey, I love it, and Hispanics love the Addams Family.
We do.
Hispanics they love spooky things. But yeah, another one that just no footage, just a little tease with Thing and Wednesday. I like the look of Thing. It's got the stitchings and whatnot. That's very different than the show and the movies.
Yes.
Overall, this is a thumbs up. I can't wait. I've been excited for this, man. I'm super excited to see what that is going to be like. I assume it's going to be like the Sabrina show, which I also dug. I thought was pretty cool. So it's going to be that vibe, a little bit of comedy, some macabre stuff going on. I'm down for it.
Oh, absolutely. I'm there as well.
Another thing I want to run down. This is a movie that I read about way back in like 2009, 2008 when I was collecting Wizard magazine. This actor's been involved with this movie for like 13 years. We got our first full-on trailer of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in Black Adam for the new DC Universe film. I don't know what your thoughts are on it, Gabe. I thought it looked like a pretty solid trailer. I like those characters, the Atom, Hawkman. Those are all characters that we haven't seen in the DC live action world before on the big screen. So all that Golden Age stuff, really dug it. I'm not sure how they're going to handle Black Adam himself because he is primarily a villain in most comic book runs. But hey, this is The Rock's passion project, and I'll be there for it.
I mean, I'll be there. It's The Rock. It's DC. It's another superhero movie. As you know, I'm a big superhero fan as well. I mean, I guess I'm a fan of a lot of things. But anyways, regardless of that fact, I don't know much about Black Adam. So I'm not gonna sit here and pretend I'm a huge DC comic book guy because I'm not. Outside of like the Justice League in a sense with, Superman, Batman, Green Lantern, only like the Hal Jordan version. and Aquaman, Wonder Woman. I'm not really that in tune with what DC offers as far as like superheroes are concerned.
Yeah.
I'm definitely more a Marvel guy, but DC for me has done a lot of great movies, and if they don't meddle too much, they really know how to showcase a product if Warner Brothers gets out of its own way. Like the Suicide Squad, the newer Suicide Squad was fantastic. Aquaman was amazing. Shazam, I had so much fun. Like I didn't even know who the hell Shazam was, but I went to go see it. You know,
Shazam was such a great film.
right?
You know, the one thing DC that I wish they would do more is showcase their B and C list characters. Marvel does an
Right.
incredible job of showcasing their street heroes, their cosmic heroes, whatever it is. Marvel's going to do it and make it a hit. DC's got some cool characters. They have the Human Target. They have Adam, Doctor Fate. So they got some cool guys. I think this will be a movie to showcase some of those characters. We also have Blue Beetle coming out.
Oh my
So
god! Oh, Blue Beetle.
Jason
Blue
Sudeikis
Beetle.
is as Blue Beetle, and then I forget his name from Cobra Kai.
Cholo.
Yes, he's going to be taking on the mantle from Jason Sudeikis in the movie. That movie is going to be fun.
I just want to say this about Blue Beetle because I know it's probably not part of your notes, but you mentioned it.
Yeah.
Is that what Chadwick what Chadwick did for Black Panther and the African American community? Cholo's going to do for the Hispanic community. It's going to be one of the first times we see a Hispanic leading man as a superhero and the in the big screen. That's our guy. Like we've sat here and mentioned how I was upset about how Bane was a Scottish or English dude and Batman whatever.
Right.
And he's actually Hispanic and they whitewashed the character. But now we're gonna have Blue Beetle and we're gonna have Cholo, who's Mexican American, and we're gonna see a brown superhero. That's like I'm so proud of that. You know what I'm saying? So like I don't know. I'm just so happy for that.
Cool, man. Yeah, no, I'm down for Blue Beetle. The casting is great. Susan Sarandon. There's a lot of people in there. I don't know if it's going to be HBO Max or theaters. I heard it's going to theaters now. So
yeah, it's going to theaters. I think
George Lopez is in it.
Of course. Yeah, I mean it's George Lopez.
George Lopez, he's got to be in it.
Yeah. No, I think what is going to theaters because I feel in the sense that the movies are coming back, and I know it's these blockbusters that are taking a huge chunk of the box office, but it shows that people are willing to go see movies that are worth going to the movies for.
Dude, Top Gun. I haven't even touched on it. Top Gun is destroying records right now. For me, people are ready to go back to the movies.
Absolutely.
So, all right. So we ran down Black Adam. My bad. Something else. We'll mention this one real quick, and then we'll get on to the topic of today's episode, which is really exciting because we got a list of movies for you guys to check out if you haven't, and if you have seen these movies, well, join the discussion. Ghostbusters Afterlife sequel update. They're moving forward with the sequel. Cast is returning, and from what we know now is it's going to take place in Manhattan again. So the code name for the film is Ghostbusters Firehouse. That's a working title, not the official title. But dude, I had fun with the last movie. I know some people didn't. I'm excited for whatever follow-up we're getting. I just love Ghostbusters as a franchise. Like, that was my shit as a kid. So I'm excited.
You mentioned the cast was returning. Are we talking about the original Ghostbusters as well, or we're just talking about the new kids?
From what I know, it's going to be the Afterlife cast. And for those that have seen the movie, spoiler alert.
I got sorry.
Ernie Hudson for sure because of the ending. And I assume they're doing is like this extreme Ghostbusters route where Ernie or Ray, so Winston and Ray are probably training new recruits along with the Zeddemore or the Spangler family that we saw from the last film. So I don't know, but they're moving forward with it, and I'm excited. I like the last movie.
Right. I wouldn't be mad if they just left it as Ghostbusters Firehouse. I mean, the Firehouse is iconic.
That's what I'm excited about. I'm excited to see what they're going to do, what shenanigans are going to be back in New York. Dude, I liked the Girls movie. Like, I know a lot of people didn't. I did. I'd be down to see them come back. Like,
I did. You know, I'm an advocate for the girls' Ghostbusters movies. Like, I wish I could have gotten a sequel for that.
dude, I love Ghostbusters. I love this franchise. I love the comic books, the cartoons. So I'm down for this. It sounds like you are too, from the sounds of it.
Oh yeah, of course. I'm
Cool.
actually down for almost any movie that's not a Western or made before 1970.
I
Which
changed my mind on that though.
which you have a knack, and I was telling Justice, anytime we're talking about which movies we're gonna do and which movies we're gonna see, you're always throwing in movies from like 1975 or like 1972. And I always tell Justice, I'm like, man, this guy's really making me watch movies before I was born.
The 70s are my favorite decade. Somebody asked that. Like, I know I love a lot of 80s movies, but the 70s, I think, in terms of like my filmmaker and writing brain, those are the ones that I gravitate towards. Those are the formative films that I like.
I guess
So let's
I
get down to
gravitate towards
this.
the 2000s.
You do, which I do too, but I think I don't know what it is. The 70s, I just vibe with it.
Right.
So on today's episode, guys, we are talking 5 foreign films that we want to recommend to you, films that we love.
I would say they're must-watch foreign films. If you're not a huge foreign film person, watch these 5, and they might change your life. They might just change your view of foreign films.
Now, some of these titles Gabe had never seen before. Some of these I had.
3 out of the 2.
So it was vice versa. It was some of his favorites, some of my favorites. We compiled them into 5 picks, and I'm going to run down the titles, and we're going to give a reason why you should check these out, what the other person thought of it. So we're going to break this down starting now. First movie on the list, and I want to get this one out the way because Gabe's been telling me to see this movie for the better half of the past, like 2.5, 3 years, maybe.
3 years.
3 years. So maybe it was 2019. You gave me the code to watch this movie. And I'm going to butcher the title, so I want you to say it because you'll pronounce it right.
All right. So this one is what I'm just going to preface it as saying it's when I watch this movie, I always think, oh my God, I love this movie so much. And then when I do my like list of like top favorite movies, for some reason I forget to put it on, but it actually is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's Amores Perros, and that movie is from Mexico. So it is, like I've said, it is one of my favorite movies of all time. And I've been recommending this to Tony for about 3 years. And every time he says, oh, I'm going to go watch this, I'm like, when you're going to watch my Mexican movie? He's like, oh, I'll watch it next week. Or I'll watch it. And then the next day comes, oh, I'm going to go see this. And so when I one of the reasons I actually picked this topic was that make him watch this movie.
Yes.
And then and I told him, don't tell me any thoughts. I don't want to know anything. I saw that
he didn't even rate it on Letterboxd yet either.
No, you did not. And I looked at on Letterboxd. I was like,
I figured
maybe he rated it there. And I was like, it wasn't up there. So I was like, all right, because I didn't want to know anything until today's show. I wanted to get his perspective live and fresh right now.
Cool. Before I do that, tell the folks about the plot real quick. Give a little brief synopsis. Because this movie's pretty wild.
Yes, it is. It is written and directed. His first feature film by Alejandro Guzman Inarritu,
he's great.
He does Birdman, The Revenant. I mean, he's won so many Oscars now. But this was his first film. Basically, it's a 3-part story, and you get bits and pieces from the very beginning, and it's about how these 3 stories interconnect with one another. So it shows you a perspective of one story, then you get the second story, then you get the third story, and they're all combined by one single car crash. And it is just a fantastic, wild ride through Mexico City, which is the capital of Mexico. And it, like I said, it is just brash. It is jarring. It is just something that when you watch the film, you're feeling a little bit. At least I do. I felt, you feel a little bit of uneasiness with some of the, with the plot points and what goes on in the movie. It's just a phenomenal first feature, and it's also the first starring role for Gael Garcia Bernal, who is one of the higher ranking Hollywood actors at this moment working now. He's done a lot of roles. He's done a lot of Spanish movies and now English movies. So, anyways, fantastic movie. So that is my synopsis of it.
So I didn't like this movie. No, I'm just playing. Dude, honestly, no. I had a feeling I was gonna like it. I always forget every time you bring it up to me that Alejandro made this, because I've liked every single one of his films, and I gotta say this might be one of my favorites, if not my favorite of his. And I think The Revenant is damn good. I love Birdman, but this is ferocious filmmaking, especially for somebody's like first time movie. Like, everything matters in this. There wasn't something that like wasn't interesting. The camera moves quickly. There's moments that feel like the last act of Goodfellas. The way Alejandro moves these camera movements, the way there's certain one takes that happen. The dog fights had me uneasy. The characters are interesting. This is a big thumbs up for me. I think when I do rate it in the letterbox, I'll probably give it like a 4.5 out of 5. I thought it was good, man, and I was telling Victoria, like, I should have watched it sooner because I loved it. I thought it was really, really good. Everybody, there's not a weak link in this cast, but what makes it so good is the portrait of these characters and that lifestyle that they live. Everybody's interesting. The brother, who's
Right.
scummy in this. The love story at the beginning between one of our main characters and the brother's wife. Like, everything in this works so well. And there's this, like you said, undercurrent of uneasiness and tension. This
Right.
movie's great. It's really good. And I can see why you threw it on the list. It's not a movie that I hear talked often about, but it is highly praised. It's
Right.
got a ton of great reviews. So this is a big thumbs up. I just loved how this movie was filmed. That's my biggest takeaway, was this movie's filmed so ferociously, and it's just breathtaking to watch.
So I got a couple. Of things, and I know we want to go quickly on these, but I have a couple of notes that I wrote down here. Essentially, the reason why it's like that is Alejandro decided that for Gael, basically,
Yeah, yeah.
Octavio, he was going to film them really. He was going to film his camera work very quick and jerky, a lot of fast pace, because he felt that was the energy that actor needed. When we get to the second story about the supermodel, everything was like shiny and sleek. The
Exactly.
camera work was, and that's because of she's a supermodel. She's on the higher hierarchy in Mexico, a higher social class. So everything was going to be shiny and sleek, director style work, camera work. And then the third one was just a mixture of both, because that's the way that I was going to say homeless, but he's not really homeless, but the way that, the third guy is just
My
a
favorite
combination
character in this movie.
He's a great character.
And even when he's not speaking, which he rarely does in this film, he's emoting. Everything he's acting with is just like perfect. Like it's perfect acting.
Correct. And then there is a lot of dogfighting, but and I don't know if Victoria, sorry, when I said, "Oh, you guys should watch it," and I was like, I remember the dogfighting. I was like, I'm not going to mention it.
You would not be happy with it.
Well, the dogfighting in it, they were all muzzled, and they were actually playing, and it was heavily edited, so it looked like they were dogfighting.
Yeah. It's your editing, everything, like the filmmaking side of this, the technical, everything across the board.
So the film is part of the Criterion Collection, number 1060. So, once it makes it to Criterion, it is a phenomenal movie. Also, it won Best Film at the Chicago International Film Festival, and it was nominated for Best Foreign Film at the Oscars. So this movie was huge in 2000. Again, my favorite era of movies. The UK almost banned it for all the dogfighting scenes. And basically, at the end, this movie helped revitalize Mexican cinema, because after this, we have another huge hit with another movie called Y Tu Mamá También, which is basically what you would consider like a teenage comedy, in a sense, growing up comedy. But anyways, I'm glad you loved it. I'm glad you liked it. It's, like I said, it is one of my favorite films ever of all time.
No, this was a big time recommendation, and this is going to be a movie that I'm going to recommend to people, man, because this is a great coming out party, but it's a great movie, and I was just taken aback by just how well it's directed and edited and acted. And I haven't heard of like 90% of these people. They were the greatest. Everything was so good. So let's move on. Oh, go ahead if you got one last thing to say.
No, I was just gonna say every single character, there's nobody, and it's like life, and I felt like this is what he felt like. Is nobody is clean. Like nobody, you look at the brother, who's in love with his brother's wife.
Exactly.
And so he's not clean. So he puts his dog into dog fighting to get money. And then you look at the supermodel who is whatever. She's in love. She's with a guy that was married. And the homeless guy at the end, who's just, well, not homeless, but, whatever the case, he's also not there. Nobody in this movie is a perfect human being. We all have flaws, and it's a great movie. And that's all.
It's a great portrait of these characters. So big thumbs up. You got to see it. Yes, Connor, you should seek this one out. It's really good. I should have pulled the trigger on it sooner, but I loved it.
The English translation is called "Love's a Bitch."
Oh, perfect. So the next film on the list I wanted to throw in here because this is one that I went on a whole Jackie Chan kick like a year ago, I want to say. And Jackie Chan is an actor that my dad loves kung fu movies. So we watched like Rumble in the Bronx growing up, The Drunken Master, the Rush Hour movies. But Police Story is stuff that I seeked out on my own, and I watched all of them. And so many of my favorite filmmakers love these movies. So I was like, all right, I got to see what Police Story is all about, directed by Jackie Chan. The first one is from 1985. And this movie blows my mind whenever I watch it. It has some of my favorite fight choreography ever in a film. It has one of the best third acts for me personally. It's so fun. It's exciting. It's pretty much like the Chinese version of Beverly Hills Cop, starring Jackie Chan.
I would say it's a Chinese version of Rush Hour, starring Jackie Chan.
Sure. But that movie, it already exists. But I would say if you love like Beverly Hills Cop, this is very much in tone of that. Very goofy, but there's this ferocious nature to the fighting that works so well. So Gabe has never seen this movie.
No,
I got him to watch it for the first time. What did you think of Police Story, Gabe?
So I'm not a huge kung fu guy. I wasn't big on Jackie Chan as far as I like Rush Hour. Shanghai Nights was okay. I guess I'm a Jackie Chan type person as far as like when it comes to like his Americanized movies, his American movies. And it was only just basically like Rush Hour, which was my favorite. I think it was more Chris Tucker than anything. I thought his stunts were cool and all that stuff, right? But Police Story was it was good. I liked it. I liked it a lot. It was a movie that the kung fu really kept me interested, and I didn't think it would. Seeing Jackie do all those stunts, like the mall at the end, like the mall scene, was just insane.
They got so hurt doing that. I know he was hospitalized doing when he slides down the pole, and they cut between like 9 different camera angles. Because it's just like, well, fuck yeah, you got to show it because he really did it. He like fractured every bone in his body doing this stunt.
It was done in one take.
It's all one take. What's impressive is that Jackie Chan is like Charlie Chaplin or Buster Keaton if they knew kung fu. I mean, he's doing all his own stunts. He's very comedic. He's so funny in this, and these movies in general. He's very funny in these. But that ending fight, every stuntman got hurt. At the end of Jackie's movies, you always see this B-roll footage of them fighting and doing the stunts and getting hurt. And I love this movie. I'm happy I finally got you to see it. So those that have not seen Police Story, seek it out. That's another one that's also in the Criterion Collection.
Yeah, number 971. Do
you have any facts? How did you know that one?
that was part of my facts. Let me see. Like I said, I wrote notes. Hold on a second here. Let's see. This is Jackie Chan's favorite film that he's done in his whole filmography. It's the first kung fu police story ever done. It won Hong Kong Best Picture, and it also won Best Action Choreography as well.
This is a movie that really takes him into the stratosphere because up until this point, he was trying to break in with America so hard, and he's like, you know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna direct my own shit.
You know what's funny though is Miramax tried to buy the rights to Police Story, and then Jackie Chan and I guess whoever was there at the time, I'm assuming one of the Weinsteins, they wanted to buy part one and two, and then they wanted to edit one and two, a heavy edit, into just one big ass movie. And
Oh,
that way it would be Jackie Chan's like introductory movie into the United States market. But Jackie Chan said no to that.
it's not a bad idea. But then again, why don't you just go watch part one and two? It's there. I don't know what you can cut because they're all so funny, and like, why would you want to miss out? Part two is great, but I could see where they were coming from with that because they flow so well together, and they are pretty much one long story. You go watch the second one, and it picks up directly where the first one left off.
I'm actually gonna probably go watch the second one now. I mean, I saw the first one, right? Seek out the second one.
I would see the third one too. I would see part 1, 2, and 3 for sure. The third one is him teaming up with Michelle Yeoh from Everything Everywhere All at Once. There's a lot of great stunt work in that. That's a few years later, but the third one is also great. Through all three of those are top tier Jackie Chan. So, without further ado, let's move on. Let's get another movie out the way. I'm going to shoot it back to you because this is a movie I have seen. This is a movie that I think most people have seen. I think this is one that is pretty high on a lot of people's list when it comes to foreign films. You wanted to give this one a shout out. I saw this in film school. It was always a movie I was aware of. Every book I read would mention this movie. It's from Brazil.
Yes.
God, from 2002. Talk to us about it, Gabe. Why is it one of your must-sees?
It is a must see for me because it is a story of slums, basically Brazilian Rio de Janeiro slums.
Right.
To me, it's what stands head and shoulders above the rest is that a lot of the actors are the kids that are actually from the favelas, which is the slums of Rio de Janeiro. They're not actors. Maybe one or two are real actors, but everybody else, all the kids, everybody were just there, and they were like, "Hey, you want to be in this movie?" And they said, "Yeah." Even though the main character, Rocket, he was just there, hanging out with a friend who was actually auditioning for it, and they offered him one of the lead roles, and he took it. So to me, that's always been unique about this movie. Not to mention the fact that it is very brutal as far as you have little boys as young as 5 years old in this, and it's a real with guns, and it's real life. This is like a real life movie. This is based on a true story. So it's to me, it's fascinating, and I feel like if you don't see this movie, and I know, like you said, everybody's aware of this, everybody knows about this,
right?
But it should have more light because I feel like it's lost. It's been lost in the shuffle a lot. I feel like I know everybody knows about it, but as the years have gone on, it feels like it's lost. A little bit of its luster has been lost in the shuffle. So I wanted to bring it back into everybody's view again.
I agree with every point. This movie is electric in how it's directed. If you love rise and fall storylines, if you love gangster films, this is a Brazilian gangster movie. Like, who doesn't love those kind of movies? It's a parable. It has some of the best editing I've seen in a film. There's a reason why they showed us it in class. I remember my editing teacher said, "You're going to see some of the best editing you've ever seen in a movie." And I was aware of this movie, and I've seen it on so many watch lists and books by Sid Field on screenwriting. And I'm like, all right, finally get to see it. It was everything everybody talked about. This is a must-watch if you're a film fan. If you haven't seen it, it's a bucket list movie. You have to watch it.
It is. And what's surprising to me is that, it's not part of their Criterion collection. Like, I was looking online, and a lot of people were clamoring for them to finally make it part of the collection. And it's deserving. So, I mean, it was nominated for Best Picture. It got 4 Oscar nominations in 2002. In fact, in 2001, Brazil tried to submit it, and the Oscars wouldn't accept it. So when Miramax bought the rights to it, they resubmitted it in 2002 and re-released it to theaters, and that's how I got all this Oscar noms. But yeah, it's a crazy movie. One of the really cool things about it was that one of the scenes when they're at the beach, the main character Rocket and his the girl he's trying to talk to was unintentionally filmed and kept in the movie. As the boy was saying, "Hey, you know what? Is what's weird is I guess he was like 13, 14 at the time. He said that he's never taken a hot shower before in his life, and
Oh
that
wow.
was yeah, and that was actual. That was actually he was being truthful. Like up to that point, he had never taken a hot shower. I thought that was real weird, a little cool tidbit about the about the actor.
Dude, there's a lot of little touches in this movie that works. I'm with you though. As soon as you said this pick and you were talking about let's shout out some foreign films and you threw that on there, I'm like, good, because that would have been one I threw out because it's the obvious one, but it's one that you absolutely need to see. There's images
Yeah,
uh, glued to my brain from this movie because they're so well shot. Like, if I wanted to show somebody like what does a director do? There's a few movies on like Goodfellas, Halloween. Like, what does a director do? E.T., Jaws. This movie's on that list. Like, you
right.
have to throw that on there.
So based on like the Amores Perros that I threw out, City of God, I have a feeling like if I'm gonna watch like an international movie, right? I don't want to see like a movie that's gonna be glossy and shiny. I want to see what that city would actually be like, a representation of what people in that city actually live, how they live. And between
It's
City of
our
God,
only it's our only way to do that because the movies are an empathy machine. So that's what makes these two movies so good is that it gives us a viewpoint into these lives.
into these lives, like let's say I'm gonna go visit Rio de Janeiro. Yeah, I'm gonna see the shiny and glitzy stuff because I'm a tourist. Yeah, I'm not gonna go to a favela and who knows what's gonna happen to me. But as far as movie watching from the comfort of my own home, I do want to see the dirty and the griminess of what Brazil has to offer, of what Mexico has to offer. I would
Right.
even say, with Police Story of what, Hong Kong had to offer as well. You get a little bit of that griminess, a little bit of the mafia that I don't know, do they have the Yakuza in Hong Kong? If they do, a little bit of the Yakuza, which, it gives us, so that's what I want to see when in a foreign film because I may not go to these cities and visit them, but I want them represented. It's true. Like let's say somebody did a movie of Chicago. I know what they're gonna get. Right, they're gonna get Wrigley Field. They're gonna get downtown. They're gonna get the lake. But if you really want to get true Chicago, you would need to go like to the South Side, the West Side.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like true hardworking, blue collar, lunch and pail type of characters that are there. So I mean, that's what I want out of foreign films.
No, and it's a great view. It's a great point to make. These are two movies that are kind of disheartening, ferocious, sad, empathetic. So I'm happy both of them are on the list, and they make a great double feature too. I would say both of those films. So let's move on. I want to shout out this filmmaker because he's kind of become a global phenomenon within the past 3 or so years. Right? It's Bong Joon Ho. This is my favorite Bong Joon Ho film. I know people love Okja. They love Parasite. Parasite, that's like everybody's favorite. I love those movies. I think Parasite is fantastic. But for me, for my taste, it's always going to be Memories of Murder from 2003. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
if you love movies like Zodiac, Seven, this is the Korean Zodiac. It's based on a true story. The things that happen in this are very wild. It's beautifully made, well shot, acted. There's some dark, humorous moments, but if you're looking to have a triple feature, add this to your list. This is one of my favorite true crime movies. So Gabe has never seen this.
Never seen it.
Throw it on the list.
I've never seen Parasite either, so don't kill me.
Oh no, I thought you'd seen that one.
I missed it.
You weren't interested, huh?
No,
What did you think of Memories of Murder?
it was all right. Nah, you know what? It was nah. No, it was really good. Like you said, it's based in 1986. Again, you and modern movies, but with like a set in the past. Anyways, it was a movie that it was a how can I say it? Like you said, it was like a seven. Nightcrawler feel to it, detective story,
Right.
and it felt very real. And that's because it was real. They, where North Korea had a freaking murder out in the boonies, serial killer, and it was just to me it was crazy because I always think of that region for some reason as like with like no serial killers. I know that's wrong. That's
We
typecasting.
think about serial killers in the U.S. We never think about the ones that are in these other countries. And
Right.
the killer in this is scary. There's this uneasiness because you don't know through most of the runtime. And there's a lot of things where you're finding out with these two cops what's going to happen, how's it going to go down, and they don't even know themselves, and it makes it even scarier.
Right, and not to mention the police brutality that they have. Like I'm like these like not only are these suspects all of a sudden become victims, it's just you feel sorry for them, and they can't figure out who it is, and they'll never know.
Never know. Very much like Zodiac.
Very much like Zodiac. They never knew, and like you said, this movie had a lot of good, like unsettling scenes, a lot of eerie scenes, a lot of long shots of women walking in dark places and, through the forest or whatever it is, or the backwoods. And it just felt I felt uneased throughout the entire movie, which is, a testament to his directing style and how he made the movie, his writing style as well.
Yeah, no. Bong Joon-ho is he's one of the masters. This is a movie where people say what foreign films to watch. This is one I always go to. I own it. This is another one on the Criterion Collection. So
is it?
It is. I own it.
Interesting. I didn't see those in my notes. So 4 out of our 5 movies are part of the Criterion Collection, and the one should definitely be on it. So I'm going to say 5 for 5 Criterion Collection.
I guess that makes us film scholars, if anything. We just have exquisite taste.
We do have exquisite taste.
We do. Let's shoot to the last movie on the list. This is a total 180. Like every movie we mentioned. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Hold on. I got some stuff for this. You
got some notes.
I do got notes, man. You can bypass it over.
I'll give you your moment. I got you.
So the killer, spoiler alert, was not caught until 2019 based on DNA evidence. So they saved all that DNA evidence, and the killer was just caught like 3 years ago.
Was it semen? It's always semen.
I don't know. It doesn't say, but I don't think semen keeps.
I don't know.
Maybe it does. Again, our sponsored children.
Ejaculating everywhere.
Probably. So the way the movie ended was sort of like the cop does like a long stare into the camera, right? And that was intentional. The director thought to himself, like, what if the killer was actually seeing this? And the killer said he saw it. Like, he was in a movie theater with everybody else watching this freaking movie. And when they asked him what he thought of the movie, he just said that he didn't feel any type of thing. He didn't feel anything about it. He didn't feel any type of way. Like, cold-blooded, cold-hearted on it. So the killer currently now is serving a life sentence for killing his sister-in-law back in like 1995. Because all those murders in the 80s, based on Korean law, they couldn't charge him on anything because of the law of statute of limitations.
It is crazy. Oh, go ahead.
No, last one is Tarantino's top 20 favorite movies of all time.
I did not know that. That's a new one for me. I know he loves Bong Joon-ho. I did not know this was one of his favorites. But
yes,
well deserved. I love the actor. You mentioned him, who's the cop at the end. He's also the dad in Parasite. One of the best Korean actors. This movie is, to me, if I was showing somebody my taste in films along with Zodiac 7, I just love cold case thrillers, Silence of the Lambs. Like, you could have a marathon and throw this on.
You know what? You like police movies a lot.
I do. Yeah. My grandpa, that's all he would watch. Lethal Weapon, Beverly Hills Cop. That's it.
Which is funny is you like the police movies, and I like the anti-police, like gangster, urban thug type movies.
Yeah. That doesn't say anything about us, I don't think, as far as I know. But in movies, that stuff is just cool, I guess. It goes back to the Cowboys and Indians thing, right?
Right.
Okay, last movie on the list. What's up, Brett? Want to shout out Brett real quick? I see him in the chat. There are trolls. We got like this porno links that pop up every so often. Last movie on the list. Peter Jackson goes on to do Lord of the Rings, King Kong, The Frighteners, which I loved. It's from the 90s. Great movie, but one of his first films, I believe this is his third film. This is Brain Dead or Dead Alive, depends on where you pick up the DVD, I guess, from 1992. It's a New Zealand splatter comedy. It's very hard to find on.
Very hard to find. Dude, you had me on a wild goose chase through Voodoo, Amazon,
I was
Netflix,
looking too.
Like finally was able to find a version on YouTube for
Which isn't that great either. It's not like there's some editing on both YouTube versions of this movie. But I think even the YouTube versions showcase some really, really fun special effects and gore, which is what this movie has to offer, is the slapstick humor, the gross out humor. There's a lot of disgusting things that happen to body parts. I love the third act going straight up Night of the Living Dead. This is a fun movie. I don't know what your thoughts are on it. I didn't really ask you much about it.
No, we actually didn't talk much about the movies we watched because I feel like a lot of these were first-time watches for me.
Right.
I know I didn't want to know anything about your thoughts on Amores Perros until tonight's show, so we really didn't talk about the movies we watched. But this one was just like, what the fuck was I watching? Like, what the hell? From like the monkey from the very beginning looking all weird to like some of these gruesome ass deaths. Like I was like, okay, this movie is considered one of the bloodiest movies of all time.
The third act gets really, really bloody.
Right, and that's basically what it is because they used about 300 liters of blood for that final scene.
So you have some, you got some notes there. You got some more notes on this movie.
Listen, I wrote notes today. All right, I told you I wrote notes.
You came prepared.
I'm not usually prepared.
What are the other facts? What are the other facts you got about Dead Alive?
In New Zealand, it outperformed Batman Returns upon release.
Sure. Yeah. This did pretty well in New Zealand, I think. It had some trouble coming to the U.S., right?
Yes, because of all the gore and all of that stuff related to this movie. So it's just like we said, it's just one of these movies that, like you said, it's a horror comedy. There's so much to it. There's zombies and there's just the funny antics that the guy has with his mom, putting her in the basement. It's like, okay, why would you put your mom in the basement when you know she's a zombie?
Dude, that dinner scene still grosses me out. The pudding, like I was gagging. Like there's things, and he goes farther with it. Like he's doing everything in that moment to make you so disgusted.
And we have that creepy ass uncle, Uncle Les.
Yeah, the fucking uncle's a creeper who turns into a badass for a second. I love the priest that it goes, I kick ass for the Lord. And he does karate, which that was great. This movie's weird. It's really weird. I wish it wasn't so hard to find on Blu-ray. I'm shocked a lot of these like Scream Factory boutique type places haven't done a special release, but hopefully.
Do you think that's Peter Jackson's doing?
It is actually. He is too busy working on all things Lord of the Rings with Weta, but he's talked about he wants to release this himself. He wants to oversee a 4K remaster of the film.
Okay.
So this was a fun one. It's literally what the title is, Brain Dead. It's fun, mindless sort of splatter comedy. It gets really weird. It's not for everybody. It's a weird ass movie.
It is. It's not for anybody. I know Jess wasn't having too much fun with it. She's like, "What the hell is this?"
It's strange. It's very strange. But that is all the films. That is 5 movies we think
you need to see.
We think you need to see from all around the globe. So, Gabe, I don't know if there's any other titles you want to throw in as honorable mentions. I see Julian in the chat saying Train to Busan, which I know you like, right? You're a fan of that one.
I'm a fan of Train to Busan. I would say the newer one from Taiwan, The Sadness.
Okay, that's a movie that you've been telling me about for a while. Yeah, for a couple weeks.
I actually bought it from Germany because they're not selling it in the United States for some reason. So I had to buy it from Germany and get it shipped over from there.
I have not seen this one yet.
Which is new to me. Usually we buy movies and stuff, but I've never actually ordered a movie from another country. I'm grateful for 4K that I'm able to get these movies now and region free.
That's what's so cool about 4K is that you could buy movies from all around. Different places have different releases, and you can play them all on your 4K Blu-ray player.
Absolutely.
I don't have any other ones I really want to shout out, though, but go ahead.
I would just say one more. I mentioned it earlier when I was mentioning Amores Perros, but I will say Y Tu Mamá También, which is a coming-of-age story of two young Mexican boys. Again, it's Gael and young Diego Luna from a lot of movies from the Star Wars lore.
Rogue One, yeah.
Rogue One, and it's a coming-of-age story, and it's a really good, well fleshed out movie. I would also say if you want to get into Mexican movies, those two would be the way to go to get your feet wet.
So there's one I want to shout out because I forgot it. I really should have considered putting this one on the list because this is a movie that I find to be really, really scary. It's another film. It's another Spanish language film, The Orphanage. From 2008. The Orphanage is such a scary movie. It's creepy. It's a fantastic ghost story. That's another obvious one I think a lot of people throw out there, but The Orphanage is like top tier. It's so well done.
Top tier horror. That's the way horror should be.
Yeah, it's great.
If they did The Orphanage too, do you think people will cry that there's no orphans in it?
Probably. They cry about everything now.
Yeah.
I have nothing else to add for this show, Gabe. It's been a great hour. Just talking about all things that we love. We ran down the news. We got some great movies to recommend. Anything else you want to say to the people before we sign off?
No. The only thing I could say is, follow us on our social medias. I know Tony would put a link down in the description below, but we thank everybody who watches our show live and then who watches our show after the fact. We're definitely trying to get to 300 subscribers. I think we're now 20. It looks like we got 2 more over the course of this episode. So we're at 280. So we need 20 more.
Well, that's exciting. We had a big influx of subscribers over the past few days, which I can't complain about. I'm very happy about that. But I think certainly, excuse me, I think certainly TikTok and YouTube Shorts and you posting your things, we've been trying to expand on Twitter and all of our social media. So I'm really excited that so many people are discovering the show. We've seen an uptick in views on the live show recently too. So.
Over on my TikTok at Flopbuster, I did a Mountain Dew review for some reason. I did the Out of the Theater reviews, and I'm just trying to have fun, and it looks like I've also gotten an uptick on followers on TikTok. So, and I know you have too. I've seen your videos are blowing up on TikTok as well.
Right. So, that's going to be how we expand the show and get more guests and have more fun talking about film. So I think that'll do it for this episode, guys. I want to thank you. I know Gabe thanks you for watching us live. Everybody stuck around for this episode. We had a good amount of viewers. So I want to thank you once again. Make sure to share, comment if you see this later. Whatever it is, let us know what your thoughts are in the comments below and what your favorite foreign films are as well. And we'll see you guys next time.